Please join me in welcoming a remarkable leader, humanitarian, educator, personal mentor, and friend of mine, Mr. Rich Christiansen.
President, faculty, families, and graduates, thank you for the trust of this moment, and I do not take it lightly. To be asked to speak at commencement is both humbling and deeply meaningful to me. Now let me get right to it. We're living in turbulent times, but here's the truth. There's never been non-turbulent times. Every generation looks around and declares, this is the worst that it's ever been. The most divided, the most dangerous, and to quote the great philosopher, Billy Joel, we didn't start the fire, it's always been burning since the world's been turning. The world's always been messy and always been loud and always been uncertain. The most dangerous posture any generation can assume is to put their head in the sand and cling to the vestibules of the past. When I was a boy growing up in Beaver, Utah, all 1,000 of us, if you counted the cows, I could not have imagined the vibrant, global, visceral world I live in now. My imagination was simply too small for what unfolded. I'll never forget boarding an airplane for the first time in my life to go on my mission. I was the first person in my family to ever fly. I bawled. I bawled all the way to Hartford, Connecticut. I thought my world was ending. Little did I know that flight did not end my world, it began it. That was the moment I chose to step towards the unknown instead of shrinking from it. Years ago, I was taught a profound progression by Ray Norda. You can resist change and die, you can adapt to change and survive, or you can create change and thrive. Most people resist. Some adapt, but the very few rare embrace and create it. Graduates, you're not here to survive. You're not here merely to adapt, but you're here to thrive. And thriving requires courage. It requires choosing action over inaction. Now let me say something that's very important here. When the dark days swirl around you, and they will, when the days and the weight seems heavy, when you feel like screaming, "Uncle," it's okay to take a beat. It's okay to take a breath. It's okay to take a pause, regroup, recalibrate. But do not set up a campfire and roast marshmallows in a pit of despair. Do not unpack your bags there. Despair is a rest stop, not a residence. Stand back up and move forward. Despair is our greatest demoralizer. History has shown us that inaction and complacency are often more dangerous than loud oppression. We saw this in Nazi Germany. Evil rarely advances because of a few loud voices. It nearly always advances when ordinary people shrink back and stay silent. You must not shrink. You must not grow complacent, and you must not believe that your voice does not matter. And here's something that the headlines simply don't emphasize enough. Extreme poverty globally has dropped dramatically in the last 40 years. Hunger, while still unacceptable, affects a far smaller percent of humanity than it once did. Child mortality has never been cut more than it has since the 1990s, and life expectancy has risen across nearly every continent. This doesn't mean we stop improving. It means progress is possible. The world is not collapsing. The world is struggling forward. And forward is enough if brave people keep pushing forward. I remember being a young father, barely making ends meet, living in a constant sense that the world might tilt sideways at any moment. Y2K, all the clocks and computers were supposed to stop. 911, the Twin Towers in New York City toppling, and the Iraq War. My brother-in-law, an infantry soldier, and very close to my wife and I, was one of the first to cross the border chasing Saddam Hussein's royal guard. We were told that in his unit, 1 in 3 would not come home. And at that time, I went to my mother and I asked her, how do I have the courage to bring children into this upside-down nuts world? She paused and asked me, son, have you had a good life? It's been amazing, I said. Mom, thank you so much. Thank you for the gift of life and this amazing world you brought me into. She smiled and said, well, let me tell you about the world that I brought you into, son. John F. Kennedy being assassinated, our president. Cuba pointing nuclear missiles at us. The Berkeley riots. Civil unrest everywhere. Woodstock. Drugs, sex, and rock and roll. Hippies in all their glory. The Vietnam War. And yet here you are, alive, grateful, and thriving. Then she told me, now go bring some grandchildren into the world for me and expect the best. And that we did. That conversation changed me. This past year, I had the opportunity to duplicate that exact same conversation with one of my sons. The faces change. The fear language does not. You're not graduating into the underworld. You're graduating into your turn. Now let me risk mild offense for just one moment here. One of the dangers of institutions, including academic ones like this, is to resist change. The temptation is to rewind to the good old days. I don't want to return to the old days. I don't want to sit on my great-grandpa's outdoor outhouse seat. I kind of like my heated seat. I've used a typewriter without electricity, and frankly, I prefer my MacBook Pro. And yes, when wisely used, I welcome artificial intelligence. Technology is not the enemy. Change is not the enemy. Stagnation is. Clinging is. Fear is. Do not resist change. Please do not merely adapt to it. Embrace it, shape it, lead it. If my generation contributed to some of the mess, and we did, then unapologetically improve our mess. Do better, be better, build better, love better, lead better. Do not hide under the table criticizing the darkness. Stand up and present solutions. And as I close, hear this clearly. I'm passing you the baton of confidence. Not anxiety, not despair, but confidence. I've seen too much goodness, too much resilience, too much forward motion in humanity to believe otherwise. You're not the victims of your era, you're the architects of it. Take the breath when needed, refuse to live in the pit, stand tall, and move forward. And congratulations to the class of 2026. You guys have got this.